Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time out to be here today. I'm Karan Mulchandani, the founder of Enlightened Sapiens, and welcome to yet another Enlightened Weekend, where we hold sessions just like today on various topics from art, gardening, hiking, photography, meditation, birding, cooking, you name it, with one goal in mind, of course, to keep you happy, keep you, let you unwind during the weekend, of course, but more importantly, to help you discover your passion or something that makes you happy. And those of you who've attended our sessions before know that's the essence of Enlightened Sapiens. We are a community that encourages each other to grow and learn with the things that we love so that when we are ready, we can give back with this knowledge, making it easier for someone else to do the same. We always say this sort of like a conscious society where we are happy looking at other people grow. And today we have Shagun Bhansali Mehta, who wishes to give back with her knowledge on finance. So a little bit about Shagun. She is a finance content creator and a PR professional. She's the founder of Miss Piggy Banks, which is a user-centric financial platform that sort of connects users to advisors and experts, and in an essence, in a nutshell, simplifies finance, right? And the journey of seeking financial help. And that's what she's going to help us do today is sort of simplify finance. And it's such a term which sort of gets people, stressed, like, okay, finance, there's so much to do and they don't even start, right? And it's fine, it's something that the awareness of money, and we all have so many desires and needs, but we all need to make certain budgets, some plans, and especially in today's time, some emergency funds, because like today, so many of us, people have lost their jobs, people have, had salary cuts, people are working, now as freelancers and part-time and so many different expenses and different things which were not planned. And having certain, plans for these sort of situations would really help, in the future. And so today's session is a primer. It's a beginning to sort of, help you, like we said, invest, budget, make these sort of plans for yourself. And it's for you individually, right? It's not one solution fits all. Like all our sessions, it's for you individually. So hope you've got your book and paper ready if you want to make notes. The session will be on our YouTube channel. I think someone asked, Zizi asked, yes, it will be on our YouTube channel. You can view the recording there if in case you have a network issue, or if you want to share this with someone else as well. So I hope you all are ready. All our sessions are interactive, so use the chat box if you want to, ask any questions. Keep it clean, of course, so that relevant questions are only asked. And use the raise hand button whenever Shagun asks you or we ask you, so that you can interact and ask the questions through the chat box, through the chat. So awesome, we're ready to begin. We have a power-packed, information-filled session. I hope you all are ready. And good morning, Shagun. Nice to have you here.
Hi, Karan. Thanks so much for having me today. Just a little bit about myself, guys. I used to be terrible with finance. It was something that I used to find extremely overwhelming. And I don't know if majority of you find that overwhelming, but if you do, I'm here to make it super simple for you and to tell you that the finance world is not a big no-no, and it's something that you should definitely be, looking at. You should be investing your money. What we're going to do through this session is teach you just basic things on, importance of budgeting and the different ways to actually do that. Why emergency funds are super important. How do you create your long-term and short-term goals, and then how do you, even pay off your credit card debt if you have any, because these circumstances are so, unfortunate right now. And at the end of it, we'll just go through some quick tips on what you can do to manage your finances during this uncertain time. So can I just share my screen, Karan?
Of course, absolutely.
Can you guys see? Okay. Is it clear?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Sorry, just 1 second. I'm sorry, just hold on 1 second. I'm just getting a little.
Okay, so since till Shagun fixes this, like she was saying, there are different times in our life. We may be 17, we may be just entering college or in college, and we're hustling for a side gig, or we are working as an employee or part time, or in our late 40s, 50s. It's never too late to start and be aware of our finances. And I hope you all do enjoy. So I think Shagun's ready right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to start this session by asking you, all of you, is money earned only to be spent? I mean, I'd like to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts? Do you earn money just to spend it? Okay, okay, let's just start off. I think like most of us, all money is usually what we think is you earn it to spend it, and maybe some of it you save. But the truth is, money, if used well, your money can actually work for you. Your money is something that if you invest it, if you put it to good use, it can actually double, triple the way you want. So it's not just that you earn paycheck to paycheck and then sort of move on to the next month. That's not what it is. Your money is it be and today what we're going to do is we're going to break it down into super simple terms that is going to help you in the near future to actually grow your money. Okay, so do you ever have this talk with yourself every month that where does all my money go? At the end of the month you're like, listen, I didn't spend money anywhere. I have not made any big expenses, but I just really don't have anything that I've really saved up. By the end of the month it's like, oh my god, I need to wait for my next month's salary so that I can actually have some money in my bank account. So you do that, at least most of us do. So let's understand what money leaks are and how you can find out your own money leaks. And this is very crucial because it's pretty much like the first step of figuring your finances for the long term. So what are money leaks? It is any amount of money that you spend and have no idea where and what you spend that money on at the end of the month. So what is it that you can do to actually figure out where you're spending your money? There are a couple of things that you can do to find the leak and then to plug them. So one, save all your receipts. When you save all your receipts of the things that you've bought, whether it's groceries, clothes, even a cup of coffee, first you need to kind of track your spending habits. Know where are you spending? Are you spending on coffee every day? Are you spending a little extra amount than required on groceries, but which are not like the essential staples? Are you buying gourmet things every month? It is a very simple process to find this. You just save all your receipts and then you analyze where you're spending your money and what is your spending habit every month. Simply write down everything that you spend over a period of 1 month and write them every time you make a purchase, or use any budgeting app, or just a simple pen and paper to do that. Next, budget. Now that you know where you're spending your money, it is time to budget. Separate the fixed or the necessary spending and the discretionary. Your discretionary is anything that is money that you're spending on that you do not require to survive. Your fixed expenses could include your rent, your insurance, your electricity, internet. You get the drift, right, of what I'm talking about. And your discretionary spending could be anything from new shoes for yourself, or new artifacts for your house, or absolutely anything that you think is, I don't need this specifically to survive. So those go into your discretionary spending. It is very important to start off by understanding these basic things. Next, sometimes there are places that you just go, you pass by a certain place, like, hey, let's just go check it out for a second. And you end up coming out with like a bag full of things. Those are places which are called leaky places. That's usually where you end up going and you end up spending most of your money or at least a little part of your money, which is not really planned for you. Like if you ever walk into a bookstore, or you're bored at work. This is pre-pandemic. You're bored at work. You get up, you go to the office vending machine, and you're like, okay, I'm going to buy some snacks out of it, and you don't even realize that almost every alternate day you're spending 100, 200 rupees just by buying random snacks, which you don't think is actually money that you've really spent, but it eventually adds up to a lot. So these are places when you're on a budget you should ideally avoid. And then basically prioritize your expenses in a way where you replace your expensive activities with cheaper ones. The last one, sorry, when you prioritize your expenses and see what is absolutely important to you. You've made your budget, you've seen your budget, you've seen where you spend, you've seen all of that. Now you need to sit and analyze, do I really need that Netflix subscription, for example, or do I really need new pillow covers for my house? Is that something that is super important to me right now? If not, take that out of your budget for at least a while till you're comfortable with your expenses and your finances. So this is a foundation pretty much of your investment or your finance journey. These are called setting financial goals. It is so important to set two kinds of financial goals. One is for the short term and one is for the long term. Short term goals are those that you want to achieve in literally in the near future, maybe which is 6 to 8 months. Or your long term goals are those that you want to achieve in 3 to 5 years. So what are your short term goals? These are something that you would want, like maybe I want to save up to buy a car, or I want to build an emergency fund. We'll get to that in a bit. But so these are something that you save for the short term. And your long-term ones are like, okay, I don't need this money right now, but I want to make sure that I have a down payment ready for a house that I want to buy, or I want to save up for my daughter's wedding, or higher education for your kids. So how do you really go about doing that? You need to set goals which are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So specific, and you need to ask yourself these questions. Specific is, okay, what do I want? What is my goal? So then you need to write down your goal. Okay, I want to build an emergency fund. And before we get to that, sorry, an emergency fund is a saving that you have, a saving fund that you have, which you do not touch unless and until you really need it for unforeseen expenses. Like for example, during these certain times, if you needed to dig into your savings to pay certain bills, or you're a little short on cash this month, or your income has been inconsistent and you need that extra money, that's the only time you dip into your emergency fund to pay hospital bills, for example. These are all unforeseen expenses. Usually, your emergency fund should have at least 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses that you have. So if you spend 10,000 rupees a month, your emergency fund should at least have 30 to 60,000 rupees saved at any given point in time. And that is not something that you touch unless and until it is super critical for you to use that money. So going back to the goals, specific. So what are you saving for? I want to build an emergency fund. Measurable. How much do I want to save in my emergency fund? Do I want to save 30,000, 40,000, 50,000? What is it? Make sure you have these numbers extremely clear in your head, because once you have this set, there will be no reason for you to not go back to it and refer it and remember that, okay, this is the amount I want to save. Attainable. Do you think that the number that you've put down is actually an attainable goal? If yes, how do you plan on achieving that? Okay, maybe if I want to save 30,000 rupees, for every month. What do I need? If I need to save 10,000 rupees every month, what do I need to do for that? Should I cut back on eating outside? Should I make, my food at home? Should I cut down on my, shopping bills? Should I not spend enough on, should I cut down on my, entertainment subscriptions? What should I do? So you need to list down what works for you and what you will realistically be able to achieve. um, the next one is realistic. Is this something that you will be able to do? Is this something that you will definitely be able to achieve? If yes, make sure that you know what you're going in for. You know that this is something that you want to do. Do not come up with super ambitious goals, because if you're not able to achieve that over a certain period of time, you will get dejected. And time bound. Don't let it be that, okay, I'm going to invest, I'm going to make sure that I save up 30,000 rupees, but I don't know by when. Make sure you know, okay, 12 months, I want to save up 30,000 rupees. It needs to be super, super specific. So, maybe we can do this quick activity, guys, where you'll, put down your goals, your short-term as well as your long-term goals into into the SMART goal setting system. Do you guys want to do that?
Yeah, sure. Let's write down, like, let's take 2 to 3 minutes and write down our goals, like Shagun has said, and break it down into a SMART goal. I quickly did mine as well while she was explaining, and it won't take much time. So while everyone's doing the activity, Shagun, you want to just recap what SMART is, so that like you can take an example, and like you said, if your monthly expenditures are 10,000, and then you should have 30 to 60,000 as your emergency fund. So that's one goal, right? So if Divya, so there are different goals that you can have. The first sort of goal would be like an emergency fund, because specifically today, that should be your base, because then it won't impact your lifestyle, it won't impact the things for your family, or whatever else you're doing. So that's the first safety net, the safety net that you would have. So that would be one goal. But there would be goals like, say, you want to save up for university, you want to save up for anything that you want, you need.
That's why the thing is, you need to every year, and this is something that I tell everyone to do every year, always have two goals. One is a short term and one is a long term goal. So, short term right now could be an emergency fund. And this is something that as we go through, the slides, we'll get to know that having an emergency fund at all times is like super essential. But your short term goal could also be like, okay, I want to buy a car. Or your long-term goal could be like, I want to save up for a down payment for a house, because you're not going to just wake up and decide I want to buy a house tomorrow. You're going to plan it, right? So how do you plan that? You need to work a little backwards. You need to have a work back plan for it. So those are goals. And again, the same fundamentals work for a long-term goal. Specific. I want to save up for a down payment. Measurable. How much do I want to save? 2 lakhs. Attainable. Is this a realistic term for me? If I'm earning, for example, only 10,000 rupees a month, I'm not going to be able to save up that much money in 2 years, hypothetically. I'm just throwing out numbers. So it needs to be attainable, realistic. Is this something, why do I want to achieve this goal? I want to make sure it's a secure future for my family and me. This is the reason why I want to do it. And time bound, how long do I want to do it in? I can't just say that I will just keep saving till I make 2 lakhs. That it's not going to work like that. You will always have another unforeseen expense that's going to come in the way and take you off track from your goal.
Absolutely. So for right now, like we said, we have 1 hour, and in 1 hour you can only cover that much. So right. Like Satish Sumethan asked, are we going in line with today's topic? Yes. So today we're going to cover a lot of things, right? And we're going to do these small activities like Shagun has prepared for us. So what we need to do right now is start these activities, but you need to take time and reflect after the session, right? Like all our sessions, we teach you the technique, the tools. Now you need to sort of remember, okay, you got to go back and say, okay, what else do I need? What else are my short-term goals? What else are my long-term goals? And like we did our vision board, and we've spoken about goals and dreams and manifesting and making it happen. So you got to take time for yourself for this. So right now, let's do one thing. Let's quickly, if anyone has questions or you want to use the
I
chat
add one
box.
thing
Yeah.
here, Karan. The thing is, the reason why we're also setting financial goals is because right now during this time, people's goals of what you must have planned 3 years ago or 2 years ago may not be able to materialize right now because of this lull in the last 2 years. So you have to reassess your goals right now. You have to reassess basis what is going on currently, and hence this is very important to do because everyone's income has been affected. At least a lot of people's income has been affected. Certain things that you had planned for may not have happened, and hence it is very important to reassess your goals time and again, and that's why this exercise is super helpful.
Absolutely. So let's do one thing. Let's take just a couple questions at max right now, and then because we've got lots to cover. So,
Yeah.
Shagun, there's a question in the chat box. Also, if anyone wants to interact with Shagun, you can use the raise hand button, and we can unmute you. Mandira Roy had a question for you. How to keep emergency fund that can give a return as well?
So you need to put it in a high yielding savings account, ideally. So your emergency fund cannot be something that you put your money into stocks and bonds, or even this hot topic right now, crypto. That's not going to help you because there are big chances of you making a lot of money, quick money, but there are also big chances of you losing a lot as well. So you need to keep it in a safe haven. You need to keep it in safe investment tools, which gives you a high rate of return. There are a lot of banks in India that help you have high yielding savings accounts. So you can always look for those and put it in that. Your emergency fund is not something that you play with. It's not money it's quick money. It is just something that you save. And if you earn some good interest on that, that's amazing.
Absolutely. Uh, Madhusudan has said, okay, what about a liquid mutual fund for your emergency fund?
So that's fine. No, I don't. You cannot. I don't think you should be putting them in anything apart from like a PPF or a high yielding savings account. All these others are somewhere in the middle between high risk and low risk.
Absolutely. Okay, let's take one last question and move ahead. Divya, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, hi Shagun. Thank you so much. Firstly, both to you and Karan for doing these amazing things for making our lives better. I'm sorry I have this thing which I've mentioned again earlier to Karan also, that I cannot keep it short. I'm trying to, but I have been appreciated in the past. So let's hope that this is not my zone, but I'm trying to educate myself. Try and bring the right and left brain both become more active. Anyway, what I wanted to know is that, as you had mentioned, very, very, we have to get very, very practical.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
At all?
Now I can, yeah.
So, okay. So as far as the emergency fund goes, which is, of course, a great idea. And suppose you have, been working towards a very big goal, which is looking very, very, very possible because of certain, it's not just always your finances, it's every part of your life that kind of affects. So if for a personal situation, which is happening, which is probably changing everything that you're doing, whether it's your location to not just your physical location, but internally also in everything. And suddenly there is a change in those personal goals, for whatever, not goals, I would say situation, for certain reasons. And then your emergency fund amount also changes because of that, because there's a change in everything that you're doing, because you had been working towards something for a very long time, and suddenly because of certain aspects, and obviously this is not a blame thing, whatever these aspects may be, and we are always responsible for whatever we do. What does one do in a situation like that, when you have been working towards a certain thing for a certain reason, and that equation has completely changed, and now even your emergency fund, suppose it was 10,000, using very small numbers, and now it's like, oh my God, I suddenly need 1 lakh. Now what do I do?
Right. So the thing is, I think we're going to come to that a little later. The thing is, you can't just put your money into savings. That is why you side by side also keep investing your money, because when you do invest, you also get good returns. When you do invest in things like bonds, mutual funds, or stocks, you're also constantly making some money or the other. Yes, you do lose it, but you also can make some. So then that you get more of an amount to play with, and then hence you can start putting little more of your entire amount into your emergency fund. It is a constant process. I mean, yes, one fine day, if you have to pay a bill for some reason of 10 lakhs, it is going to be a slight stretch. But that's why you try to prepare for it always in advance, so that, and you keep building your emergency fund over and over again, so you don't have to face this huge shock at one time. And that's why it's very important, to save as well as invest together. And we will come to that as to how you can actually do it.
Absolutely.
I
Okay.
hope that answers your question. Should we go ahead?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
sure.
What did you say? Was I unmuted? Yeah. I said, yeah. What were you saying? I didn't get the last bit.
I hope I answered your question. We will be getting into how you can.
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much. Only thing is that you did mention bonds, mutual funds, and a third one, but all of these also come with risks, as you also rightly said.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say, that when you have to save, you have to put some of your money into super, safe investment tools, and some of them can be a slightly middle to high risk, so that you can earn, more money quicker, and also achieve your goals faster. So when you actually earn more money, you can start putting a little bit of that more into your emergency funds. So that also constantly builds, and at the same time, your investments also come.
Okay. And you said bonds, mutual funds, and the third one you said, I missed that.
Stocks.
Stocks. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Should we move ahead?
Yeah, that's lots to cover.
Yeah. Okay. So the next thing is differentiating between needs and wants. You may think of it as at the first glance, like, of course I know what our wants, and of course I know what our needs, but it is not so simple. It is not so black and white. And this is the way, when we talk about money leaks, this is where it kind of blurs the lines. Your needs are super essential things. Everyone in the world has wants and needs, which are different from each person. Wants are desires for goods and services that we would like to have, but we do not need. Many wants seem like they are needs. Needs are a special kind of want and refer to things and these are basically things that we need to survive. Groceries, medical expenses, credit card, paying your bills, insurance, rent, all of those are actually needs. Saving up for a laptop right now is a need, yes, but saving up for a trip to Goa, for example, or maybe your Netflix subscription or your Amazon subscription is not really a need, although you think you're wondering how you can live without it right now. But if you do that, if you know you're spending almost 700 to 800 rupees on a Netflix subscription every month, and most of us have pretty much every OTT platform that you are spending on, do you realize that you're spending almost, close to 3,000 rupees every month just on OTT subscriptions? That money can actually put into a small SIP every month. If that's the way you kind of differentiate between needs and wants. Again, we can probably do this quick exercise where you list down, according to you, in your daily life, and this could really depend on each person, what are your needs and what are your wants. Then maybe we can take one or two people talking about them, so that we can differentiate what actually goes into a want category.
So Shagun, so you want us to write down what our wants and needs are?
I think so. I think what are your needs currently that you think from your salary that that you're paying as your needs, or for your basic absolute survival are your needs, and what is it that you usually spend on every month but they technically go as wants? But you realize that how much extra you're spending every month on things which are not really essential for your survival. And then we can take a look as to how you can sort of, navigate that area.
Sure. Yeah. So like Shagun's mentioned, let's take about a couple minutes to make two sort of lines. One is of our needs and wants, and how we sometimes mistake one for the other. So we can discuss that. So let's give about 2 minutes to everyone, 2-3 minutes, and yeah. In the meantime, while y'all are ideating and reflecting, there are a couple questions, Shagun, if you want to take them in the meantime.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry, I don't know why this is going off again and again.
So there's a question by Kanishka. I am a student and I'm thinking of, instead of wasting my pocket money, should I start investing?
Yes. Yes, you should. Put it in an SIP. You can start with an SIP even with 100 or 500 rupees. That was even a revelation to me when I started to get to know this, but you can start putting in your money with as little as 100 or 500 rupees every single month. And I promise you, your future self will thank you today.
Absolutely. And the sooner you start, since you're a student right now, you will thank your adults. I mean, the self 10 years later will really, really thank you today. So, Pranita Sharma has a question, which is very, very relevant. Shagun, what is an SIP?
So it's a systematic investment plan where basically it is kind of like a mutual fund, but you put in little money every month so that eventually your money grows. Instead of putting 50,000 at one time in a mutual fund could be two kinds. There are debt mutual funds, there are liquid mutual funds. Debt mutual funds usually are less risky. They invest in like government securities and stuff like that. Your other ones, equity mutual funds, invest in like your stocks, bonds, etc. And what you can do is if you don't have so much money to invest in one go, you can invest in these funds itself, but little amounts every month. Think of it like an EMI that you're paying.
Mitalia, do we get interest on an SIP?
Yeah, you do.
So, many of you may find these questions basic. Many of you may not even know, the terms that Shagun mentioned, which is, bonds and liquid funds and all of these.
I will explain those.
She's going to she's going to explain all of these. So if anyone has, wants to, at this point, ask any questions by unmuting, you can use the raise hand button and we can, of course, take that. Anything Shagun, you want to discuss regarding the needs and wants?
Should we just take some, if somebody's written them down, do you want to quickly compare and analyze them, or should we?
Sure. Whatever you like.
Anyone want to tell us your needs and wants?
Raghu Shankar has mentioned needs are groceries, utility bills, and wants are vacation, lifestyle, commodities.
Yes, that is true. But what do you spend on? What are your everyday wants or every month wants that you kind of spend on right now? Like for me, I'll give you an example. For me, I kind of have a subscription. I binge watch all the time. So I kind of have a subscription for every OTT platform right now. And it is technically not a need. I mean, it is a real want. If I've stopped a lot of my subscriptions, I know that I'm going to have a cumulative of at least 3,000 to 5,000 rupees saved up, for me to invest that money into something else. Or, 5,000 rupees is a lot of money to start putting it into an SIP every month, or 3,000 rupees also. So you're able to utilize that money here and there a little bit. And I'm not saying we have to live frugally or live curtail every expense, because you're earning your money to also enjoy it. And we will come to that later. Should we just go ahead?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So we've discussed what our needs, wants, how do you budget, what is it? But you know what? There are certain things, there are certain fundamentals that you should use when it comes to budgeting. So certain methods these are tried and tested methods, and they really work. And you should try as much as possible to try and use these budgeting methods for yourself. especially right now when you know income is inconsistent, when you know things may not, you don't know next month, if it, especially if you're like a business owner or an entrepreneur, you don't know next month if you're going to get two new clients or two clients are going to leave you. You need to know how to budget. So this is the 50-30-20 rule. It is super simple. What you need to do is, it is essentially a tool to help you budget your expenses. First step, calculate your after-tax income. Your after-tax income is what remains of your paycheck after all your taxes are taken out. If you're an employee, your after-tax income should be very easy to figure out because it's a part of your pay slips that you get. If you're self-employed, your after-tax includes your gross income minus your business expenses, and that's all the amount that you've set aside for your tax. Step 2. So if your after-tax amount is 10,000 rupees, 50% of that goes towards essentials. Figure out how much you need to spend on needs each month, things like groceries, utilities, household, healthcare, and the amount of things that, so this is basically what you need to spend your 50% of your amount on. Anything beyond that is not something that is going to keep you in a comfortable position in the long run. Then the next step. So out of 10,000, 5,000 has gone into your expense or your necessary expenses. The next 3,000 rupees should go towards your wants. You are earning your money, you're working really hard for it. You can't live, like this all the time by budgeting every penny. So 30% of your salary can go towards your wants. You could be thinking about, and that money can be used for whatever you want. You want to spend it on food, you want to spend it on takeout, you want to spend it on, clothes, anything. That is what you can spend on. But, also, like, we cannot just go all out and spend on super luxurious things, or keep having gourmet meals every day. It is small little things in life that give you that little joy, that occasional takeout, new things for the house, or that one nice sari that you've been wanting to buy for a very long time, stuff like that. Then this is the most important. The next 20% should definitely go in either repaying the debt that you may have or saving your money. And how this works is, out of the 20%, 10% should go into your emergency fund, and the other 10% should go towards your investments. It doesn't matter how small the amount is, but this split should remain. It is very essential for you to maintain this, rule every month when you budget, because you will always be in a decent place. You will always live comfortably. The goal is to move from a place of overwhelming feeling to a place of being, comfortable and empowered with the money that you're making every month. Do we have any questions on this? Okay, so the next rule that you can do is, if you think this is too complicated, is the 80-20 rule, where 80% of your money goes towards your needs and wants together, but the 20% still stays the way it is. It goes towards your savings and it goes towards your investments. So break it out 10 and 10. So this really works well when you are actually on a fixed salary. Every month I'm making X amount of money. It works best that time. But what happens when you're budgeting on an inconsistent income? What do you do then? You don't know this month if you're going to make 10,000 or 20,000 or 5,000, for example. But what you need to do is, you need to create a basic baseline budget that, okay, my rent, my utilities, my groceries, things that I need to survive on, they need to be paid first, because you cannot survive without these, and you kind of have to make your ends meet there. So these things need to be paid off first. Next, that little money that you have left, please try and put it towards your savings and your investments. It could be even a small 100 or 500 rupees. It does not matter. And when you actually have a higher earning months, you obviously put a little more towards your savings and investments. And the last thing is, you've kind of, if you want to sort of earn more money, hustle it out a little bit, try finding a side job, try finding something else that would be able to make you money, just to sort of balance you out for a while, till your budget, till your, money, till your salary is inconsistent. Any questions till now? So this is where we get to the big question of savings or investment. What is it? What should you do? So for say you need to do both, but they also play a different role in your financial strategy. Saving is for short term and investments is for long term. Let's break it down into super simple terms. Savings is for your short term goals and investments are for your long term goals. So it really depends on what your goals are. Are you saving to buy that car or are you saving to buy a house? They both play very different roles in your financial strategy, and knowing the difference between the two is super important. For savings, it is setting aside money that you do not need to spend right now for emergencies, that you do not need to spend for emergencies like this pandemic. Like if you already had started saving a little money, you knew you had this buffer money that was left and you wouldn't have felt this overwhelmed. Or you could also be saving for a future purchase. Always make sure you have enough to cover before your rent, household utilities, at least for 3 to 4 months before you put money aside to save. This money can be put into a high yielding savings account to help you fulfill your short-term goals. Investments. Investing is you buying assets such as stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate. So I'm going to break down each one of these so that you guys are clear. Stocks are, if you've ever invested in the stock market, it's basically you kind of invest in a company and then you buy shares of that company, you buy a little equity from them, and then you also earn a little dividend back when the company makes profit. So it's a buy and sell, it's the stock market, but if we delve into that too much, that's a whole other session that we need to have. Bonds are usually government bonds where they ask you, it's technically a loan that you give the government and then they will repay you back with an interest. So that's a bond. Mutual funds are a collection of either stocks or bonds that you invest in together. It's like a basket where you have a little bit of stocks, a little bit of bonds, a little bit of other things, and then you kind of invest in that collectively and then you reap the benefits out of that as well. Real estate is obviously buying property. So, once you are looking to buy stocks, bonds, mutual funds as a part of your investments, you expect that this investment is going to make money for you later. That's the reason why you're putting it in. That's why you're putting your money into slightly high risk investment tools. Investing your money is a great option to meet your long-term goals, like, for example, your kids' tuition or like even starting off your business. But if you're just getting to start off with your investment journey, I suggest you, like we discussed earlier, I suggest you start putting a little bit towards your investments and a little bit towards your savings. So now, right now, a lot of people have asked me, how do I pay off this credit card debt? It's been so long, I'm kind of out of a job, or like, my bills have added up and I'm not really sure what to do. So what am I supposed to do to kind of, otherwise, if you don't pay your credit card on time, you keep getting interest on that and you keep your amount to actually pay increases by a lot. So one, try and use your credit card as little as possible. We've all sort of moved from cash to credit cards, in the last couple of years. But we do not really realize where your money is just going because you're just swiping a card. But anyway, if you do have credit card debt, if you do have loans to pay, make a note of all the debts that you need to pay. Also, this is a little trick that you can do to sort of minimize the amount of extra money you're paying on your credit, on your amount. Instead of looking at your credit card bill all at once, and it's usually a lot, break it down into smaller parts. This will help you categorize it. If you hold more than one card, it is usually advisable to pay off the bill which is on priority, which is basically closer to date. Now, how do you differentiate which bill ideally needs to be paid first? It kind of depends on two criteria. Which bill has the highest interest rate and the highest outstanding bill. But if you have only one credit card, then it's super simple. You kind of break it down into four, and then you kind of know that you must pay at least the minimum amount that is required on the credit card. Usually should always pay that much at least. Do not let it get overdue to the next month. Next, you prioritize. It is really advised that you pay a credit card bill which has the highest rate of interest rather than the one that has the highest amount. If your one credit card has 5 lakhs for a lower rate of interest on that money, and the other one has 2 but has a higher rate, you need to pay off the one which has lakhs. This will save you from paying a large amount of money because of the accumulated interest in the coming months. If you think that paying only the minimum amount will help you keep, will you pay the minimum amount, you've kept it aside, and you're like, okay, I'm okay for now, it's not going to work because this is going to affect your credit report and score. Banks will keep a track of your activity, and if they think that you're spending recklessly and also not paying your bills on time, they may just suspend your card. Next, once you're done paying the highest, what you need to do is you can shift from the bill, you can shift to the next one, which has the least pending balance, and then you move ahead like that. Paying your little amounts of money will give you your much needed, mental boost of clearing the rest of your bills. It will kind of take that little tension off you. The last thing that you can kind of do, the last two things are like your last resort. Convert your bills into EMIs. You can do that. You can go to your bank branch and ask them to convert your big chunk of money into EMIs. They usually do this with nominal rate of interest, but then they have a specific tenure of by when you need to pay these bills. And these can be deposited directly at the bank, or they can be deducted from your account with an automatic payment facility. The last thing, and this is something that I usually do not ever advise people, is because you're just increasing your debt. But if your bills are so large that you cannot even pay them in installments, what you need to do is take a loan to pay off your credit card debt in one go, so that you're saving on the amount of interest that you're going to be paying. In this way, you can be debt free and will be paying lesser interest. So, and personal loan rates are comparatively lesser, and it will help you, sort of feel a little better about yourself, because debt can really also get your mental health can get affected because of that, because of which you'll not be able to work, your debts will increase more, to become like a vicious circle. So try and not take loans as much as possible, and try keeping if this is something, even if you're on an inconsistent income, try making sure that you spend just that much money on a credit card that you're going to be able to pay off at the end of the month. If you're going to be able to pay off your rent and your utilities, use only that much. If you want to make any other unforeseen expenses, try and not put it on your credit card as much as possible. Try, using some of your other savings that you may have, dip into your emergency funds for those kind of things, but try and not get your credit cards, try not get into the cycle of debt. So these are these quick tips that you can use to kind of manage your money. These are just certain quick things that we can do during these times. Obviously, hold off on big ticket expenses. Do not invest all your money into things like cryptocurrency. It is kind of the worst time for everyone to invest in cryptocurrency right now, but everybody's really doing it. It's too risky. It could fall, and you could probably lose a lot of your savings. What is usually recommended for anybody who's interested in investing in crypto is 1% of your total portfolio. It's literally 1% of it. That's it. And if you do have EMIs like your home, like your laptop or your car or your phone or any of that, keep all those EMIs under 40% of your income. You review your insurance policies again. You will see which are the better ones that have probably come out. Do you have better premiums that you can pay? What can you do with them? If you do not have medical insurance, please buy it. Your hospital bills right now are skyrocketing. And it's not even just for this pandemic. In general, you need to always be secure for certain things. It will help you in the long run. Diversify your income. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Invest a little bit in stocks, a little bit in mutual funds, but do not just put all your money into, just one stock or just the stock market, because you never know when it's very volatile right now. It could crash any minute and then all your money will go away. Start an SIP if you already haven't. You can also invest in low risk debt mutual funds. Debt mutual funds are known to be low risk. Sorry, I'm sorry, we missed this one. Can I just go back to that later? Karan?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So do not discontinue your FDs or SIPs. Instead, right now you may think that, oh my God, I have no money right now. I need to break this FD of mine. Do not do that. This is it is a snag. It is not going to be like this for life. You're going to have to think about the future as well. If you break your FDs, if you stop your SIPs, you're depriving yourself from the money that you can actually make in the future. Look at the big picture and remember what your financial goals are. And right now, if you're looking to sort of if you're looking to start investing your money, and if you don't know too much about it right now, try and seek professional help for it, because doing it yourself, you may not understand certain things, you may make mistakes, and at the cost of your money. And right now is not the time to take these kind of risks. So I kind of missed a slide earlier just to tell you the differences between the saving vehicles and the investment vehicles. The stuff that you see in the blue box are all low risk investments. They are very safe investments. And the ones that you see in the yellow box are slightly high to moderate risk investments. So savings vehicles are relatively safe in protecting your amount, and they offer low to a moderate return on your interest payments. Savings accounts are mostly liquid. What this means is you can encash them at any time. You can overnight go into your bank account, your ATM, and withdraw money from your savings or your checking account. A checking account, obviously, like most of us have one, is where it lets you make multiple deposits and withdrawals whenever you want. And your money market account is kind of usually a lot of people don't use this right now because we usually all have savings and checkings account. But what a money market account does is like an amalgamation of a savings and a checkings account. But you only have limited withdrawals and limited deposits that you can make for this. So that's why it's not really typically very popular. But the thing is, they offer more interest than your savings and checkings account. Your certificate of deposit is something that is offered by banks. It is like an FD. It is actually kind of an FD, but the only difference is that a minimum to invest in this is 1 lakh. In an FD, you can invest with start as little as 1,000 rupees as a minimum. These are all for when you want to look at saving money. This is where you can put all your money into, not in a mutual fund or a stock. That is not for your emergency funds. Go into the blue box, and all your long-term goal money that you want to make will go into your yellow box. You can use bonds, stocks, mutual funds, crypto if at all, but those are all for long term. They are not something that you will use for short term because they are not liquid enough. You cannot get your money quicker. Like for example, if you bought jewelry, you're not able to get your ideal price overnight if you sell it. At the same time, with your savings account, you can remove as much as you want and it's going to still stay as is. Savings accounts are super safe. They will not mess with inflation or anything like that. But the thing is, a lot of times, if there is inflation in the market, your overall amount may decrease in value. So there are certain things which are quite technical, but breaking it down super simple. If you're looking to save money, blue box. If you're looking to save for your invest, it's the yellow box. And yeah, I think that's pretty much the end. I can, take some questions if anyone has any.
Sure. Okay, so there are quite a lot of questions. We are going to get to all of your questions. Don't worry. So, the first question I'd like to take is something which I want to address. That there's so many terms that we mentioned today, and like we said, we all have different levels of knowledge on this finance topic, right? Like, some people don't know what equities are. Some people may know. So the idea is the question by Zizi, which is very, very relevant. And that's the first question I want to address is what is the best way to self-learn? Because like we've always said, that this 1 hour, you cannot consume everything in 1 hour, so like you said, Rome wasn't built in a day, correct? So you're not going to, be suddenly, aware of all the topics in a single day, like anything that you learn. So Shagun, the question is, what is the best way to self-learn on how to invest and how to understand the market and understand the different terms like SIPs, mutual funds, dividends, and the other instruments?
So, there's a lot of information out there. I won't lie, it is very overwhelming. It is one of the reasons why I used to, if you asked me 3-4 years ago, I'd be like, oh my God, no, if I don't want to do this right now because it's so overwhelming. But there are lots of websites out there that make finance super simple. Unfortunately, there is no, best way to learn it or like an easy way to learn it. That's why you also have Miss Piggy Banks, who makes it super easy for you. No, but the thing is, there are certain blogs, there are lots of people who are starting to learn and starting to make, finance super easy for people. It is, but there is no other way to do it apart from just doing thorough research on certain things. It will take you a while, but I promise you, you will eventually get.
Yeah, and some.
What's the best thing for you to do it in such, times is genuinely speak with an advisor. They are there to help guide you. They are there to help figure out, what works for you and what doesn't work for you basis your goals. Like otherwise, what we've spoken about here is very generic. It cannot apply to you specifically. But otherwise, that is the best way to do it, and also some research on it.
Absolutely. And what helps, is that, with me personally, when I'm looking to get into any topic, whether it's gardening, art, it's, the world is very vast, right? So for example, today we learned about, I've made my notes and I'm sure you all have. So we learned about the SMART goals, and so we learned that, okay, an emergency fund is essential. So start with understanding what an emergency fund is, and see, okay, and we mentioned you need to have 3 to 6 months. So you don't have to say, I need to understand what SIPs are. I don't need to understand what mutual funds, this, that. You start somewhere, right? You
basics to start with and if anybody is literally starting out today for any kind, your financial journey for you starts today. I think there are like just a couple steps you need to do. First, figure out your goals, which is super important. It may seem like, okay, I know what I want to do, but it's really not unless you write it down on paper. Next, you save a little for your emergency fund and the rest of the money start putting it in an SIP or mutual fund. Start with this much. Don't delve into the stock market and all of that right now because that is too technical.
Exactly, and you'll understand the risk-reward ratios, like she mentioned that scale, right? Like low risk, and high reward, and so those things you learn over time, so it's about you have to get yourself well versed before you take these. So just start learning. That's something that you will have to do. And like Shagun said, there's so many sites, including, like she said, Miss Piggy Banks, where they simplify. I've been seeing her, following her Insta, I'll be sharing her handle like she had as well, and it makes it simple, and her platform is predominantly for women. So I know she's done like, okay, this is for a Chanel bag and this lipstick. So it makes it simple on what these terms are, because these are very technical topics. So just find something that fits you and the way you want to consume this information. So I'm going to get to some few questions, before we end. Let's see. Okay. MR had a question: how to invest in US stocks like Apple, Facebook, Google?
You can. In fact, I've just done a post just the other 2 days, just 2 days ago, into how to invest in US based stocks. You can either do it, you can open an overseas account via a domestic stockbroker, or you open an account with a foreign stockbroker. In India, you can use like HDFC Bank also has, HDFC Securities has, ways you can actually open an account with them. I think even Money Control does it. I think Grow does it as well. So you can just go onto those websites, open an account for yourself and then start investing in US stocks.
Super. That also answers, I guess, our next question, which was how reliable is Grow app by Sumita?
It is good. As long as you know your fundamentals and you know what you're looking to invest in, it's fine. But if you're not very sure of it, then you kind of need help, then maybe it's not as good for you because it's a little technical.
There was a question by a couple people, by Sumita as well as Kanishka, if there's something that you can say about gold investment and digital gold. Is it different, and investing in real gold?
Gold ETFs are really good. But right now, for some reason, usually gold has always had a history of being, of always climbing up, and it's a great investment to have. But right now, due to the pandemic, it's kind of been really volatile. But overall, yes, in life, it's a very good investment to have. And gold ETFs are something that have, it's kind of, well, not new, but very recently sort of been in the news, and that's something you should definitely invest in. But
Super.
maybe hold off for some time because right now the markets are going down.
Okay. And we have a few more questions, and we just, before we close, by MR, how do you make a portfolio diversified? Is there any particular split up that you should use to diversify your portfolio?
Yes, but I think it really depends on the kind of goals that you have and the kind of, your end goal, your risk appetite. Are you somebody who wants to play super safe? Are you someone who's like, okay, I'm going to take all the risks in the world? It kind of really depends. But I don't think I can be able to answer the question unless I really get to know a little bit about him. But the thing is, yes, you should not only put all your money into stocks. Definitely do it in terms of put some in mutual funds, put some in ETFs, put some in stocks. So right now, certain sectors are doing really well. So maybe you just diversify it like that a bit. Also put some of them into safe havens like your PPF or, like your savings account. Those things also need to be there. So that's how you kind of diversify.
Absolutely. Okay, and let's take one question from Shambhavi. Shambhavi, if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question that you have. I know that you raised your hand. Was it for now or earlier? You can unmute yourself if you like.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Shambhavi.
And good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Hi.
I must say this is a pleasure to attend.
Thank
I just wanted you to help with a slide you missed after that blue and yellow box. I just wanted to take a screenshot of it.
Yeah, sure.
Basically, the last 3-4 slides, Shagun, were not visible. I think it wasn't changing.
Sorry,
yeah,
Okay.
Exactly.
So if you can just take to the last 3-4 slides, so and like Shambhavi, this is going to be on YouTube. So in case you have missed it, you can also pause and screenshot it. But yeah, if you can take this and just go one slide behind Shagun, if you don't mind.
Should I just start from here? For me, it was just going ahead. I didn't know it was stuck.
Yeah, from here.
That's all right. That's absolutely fine. Thank you.
And the next one, right?
Yeah.
Super.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Shambhavi. So like we said, you can view this. The idea is, this will take time, right? So if you there are a lot of topics that you may need to revisit, so you can always view this. I'm going to share some. Okay, let's take one question. I'm going to share some details as well. So Pranita, has our SIPs also have risk? Do SIPs have risk?
I mean, see, any kind of investment always has risk, but SIPs are like the lowest form of risk because you're also not putting in too much money at one time to really lose. Any kind of investment in the stock market has some degree of risk. It could be even 1%, but it's not like fully risk-free. The thing is, no investments, any of that is risk-free. The thing is, when it is absolutely risk-free, it is also not rewarding.
Absolutely. That's the slide that, over time you all will understand is the risk and reward ratio, right? Things which are less risky will not give you as much returns, and things which are riskier will, it's sort
Yeah.
of, that's the tug and war in finance that, yeah.
Kind of played in the middle somewhere, like, just about, just tipping.
Absolutely. So over time, you'll understand how to diversify. But like we said, start small.
Start small, start increasing your accumulating a little wealth. And then when you really feel like a little, little daring, put a little bit of it into a riskier, investment tool, and then keep the rest in the safe option. And then as you accumulate a little more, put a little more of that into, and then slowly, slowly start building it higher and higher. You'll always have enough. And please don't invest in like things like, I mean, don't go all out with like things like crypto. I think I get a message every day on should we invest in crypto. um, it is great to sort of feel that, oh my god, I've got a 300% return on us on my investment, but it's going to come crashing down at some point, and
Absolutely. So go easy, guys. Baby steps, like we said, and grow that awareness of financial literacy, like we mentioned, and yeah, it should be fine. So I'm going to share some details with you all, like we always do. Give me a second. Yeah, Shagun had put it, but it's her profile on Instagram is Miss Piggy Banks _. So you'll of course can, one of the ways that you can consume financial information is through her platform. She really simplifies it, and of course y'all can stay connected through us, through Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube. Everything is Enlightened Sapiens. So just Google it or search it on any of these platforms. You'll find us. Instagram is, of course, where we share our content, upcoming events, tips, challenges, just different fun stuff that we do. YouTube is where all our content is. So if you want to see this session or our previous sessions, just head on to YouTube. And we have email or website. If you all want to get in touch with us, please do. We're going to send feedback forms as well, so y'all can share anything you like with us through that. We do sessions every weekend, of course, on Zoom. We have Insta lives during the week. We have other fun challenges during the week on Insta. Just some few upcoming sessions. We have famous campfire stories, which we started last year. So this is going to be by Parth Upadhyay. He's a Mount Everest summiter. So we are going to take you to the mountains, even though we are at home. So that's happening next weekend. We have a session by a celebrity chef on celebrity master chef on fusion cooking using mangoes. Mango season's still around, so we're just going to make some stuff live. And there's other sessions that you all will have. So it's just on our website or Insta. You can register for all of these. All of them are free, like all our sessions. And those of you who are following us know that this is our 1 year month. We started Enlightened Sapiens last year in June. So as a lot of feedback that we had, and to empower everyone further, we are releasing all our sessions on YouTube. So get the chance to view them for this month. Like tomorrow we have journaling, bonsai. The other campfire. So, by the way, Harshvardhan Joshi just submitted Mount Everest last week, 2 weeks ago, and he had done a session before that he was aspiring to. So there's so much progress that has happened in the last year. So join any of the sessions that you like on a YouTube. And like we always say, we are a community, and we've been able to do these free sessions through the help of our community, people like Shagun who's giving their knowledge, people like y'all who are attending, as well as helping us you reach out to more people. So if you have a talent, a skill, whether it's video editing, graphics, anything that you'll have, reach out to us. Or if you'd like to hold a session and or know someone would do that, reach out to us. And more importantly, a simple act would be just to share this session, share our Insta with whoever you think will benefit from it. And that could be your act that you could do to help us grow. So yeah, that's at our 1 hour mark. We've gone 10 minutes over time, but I hope you all really enjoyed. Wanted to thank you all for attending. Thank you for the positive comments, Divya, Sumita, all of you on Tanushri, all the beautiful comments, and thank you, Shagun, for this beautiful session. And I really do hope all of you start this vehicle, it's something that, it's never too late to start. So do get mindful on this topic, because it is important. And I hope you all the best and success in life. So thanks, Shagun. Thanks, everyone. And
Thanks
I'll
so
see you
much,
all.
Karan. Thanks for this. It was really, really fun. Thank you. And I hope you guys really took away at least something from this session. Thank
Like,
you.
likewise, Shagun. All right. Thanks, guys. And I will see you all next week for a campfire in the mountains. So I'll catch you all next week, and I'll see you all on Insta.